What's going on, guys? I told you in another video that I'd tell you the reason I think it's better a lot of times, depending on the age of the vehicle, and even then I think it makes more sense to buy a new one versus an old one. But why sometimes if you're looking at a Toyota, you should buy a new car versus a used car. So when I bought this Camry, it's a 2024, I was not looking for a new Camry. I had no clue, to tell you the truth about it, how much they were. I figured they were way up in the mid 30s. Everything basically now is. And I was like, I don't really want to spend mid 30s, $40,000 on a car. Now the sticker on this one was in the low 30s. But like in the other video I told you, I got it for like 26,000 something, 26,1, 26,4, and then I gave 29,1 out the door. Out the door is the number I worked with. That's the number you want to work with, is out the door when you go buy a car. You don't want to say I'll give 29,000 and then they tack on taxes. You say, look, I'll give you 29,1 and that is it. That's tax, tags, everything. I walk away with the car, you walk away with the check, and we call it a day. So that's the number you want to work with. But when I went to look for this car, they had a used, I think it was a 2022 or 3. I can't remember if it was a 22 or 23. But it had 14,000 miles on it. And it had some scratches on it. It was an LE. It was not an SE. It had the cloth interior. It didn't have the nice, ground effects and stuff like that, like this one has, and the little wing on the back. And it had some scratches and a small dent. And they said they'd try to repair that if they could. So that they did say that. But the car, I got this, like I said, for like 26,1 or 4 or something like that before taxes. And that car, the used one, was like $1,500 less with 14,000 miles on it. And they told me it had been a rental car. And I was like, that right there was like number one thing that I was like, I don't know about that. So, people do stuff in rental cars they wouldn't normally do in their own car. So that was a red flag number one. But it was like 24,800 or 9 or something like that. It was basically $1,500 less than this car was. So I went back inside. I was actually looking at it when I was getting my oil changed on my truck. I was just walking around looking at cars, and I said, I'm gonna think about it. I'm not going to commit to buy something like this yet. I'm gonna look around. It was black. I have a black truck. Black shows dirt and scratches, and I didn't want another black vehicle. They're just hard to keep clean. I really wanted Cavalry Blue, which is what this one is. You can see from right here. So I went over to the new lot, and to my surprise, new ones were around 30 to 32,000 for an SE, an upper trim level, with the 4-cylinder and all-wheel drive. The LE was not all-wheel drive, and this is all-wheel drive, and the white one I was looking at was all-wheel drive. And I made up my mind, I'm just going to buy the white one, because I knew I could talk them down, and you could probably talk them down on the other one as well, but there was still only like $4,000, $5,000 difference in a brand new one with a lifetime warranty on the powertrain, which is what my dealership offers, and a full warranty on the vehicle, and an upper trim level, and all-wheel drive. I mean, it just made more sense for even $4,000 or $4,500 over the price of that one to buy the new one, in my opinion, because you're getting a brand new car that's an upper trim level. Toyotas hold their value so well that a lot of times you can do this. I've seen like 4Runners that were, have 60,000 miles on them, 40-some thousand miles on them, almost in the 50,000 mile range. Let's just say 50 in the middle. And they would be, $5,000, $6,000 cheaper than a brand spanking new one. Who wants to not spend $5,000 more and get a brand new vehicle versus one with 50,000 miles on it? And with a new one, a lot of times, if you want it, you can do like I did and order it and get the color you want. You don't have to just settle for the color that they have in the used one, because that's the only color they got, unless you just happen to run up on one that you want that's the color you want. So if you're buying a new car, you can order it, put $500 down, and you get exactly what you want for $4,000 or $5,000 more dollars. In my case, it was even less than that, because I was pretty stubborn and wasn't willing to come up anymore. That's another thing. Be stubborn. If they don't sell you that car, that's fine. Another dealership will. There's another dealership out there somewhere that will sell you the car you want for the, around the price you want it, or get very close to it. So if you're not happy with the price they got, don't let them push you into buying it, because they can't do it. It's your money. Just get up and walk out. 9 times out of 10, if you do that, they'll stop you or call you on the way home and have you come back and get it. I've had that happen to me as well. But for the small amount of difference there is in like used cars to new cars, especially in Toyotas, you're just better off buying a new one, in my opinion. Now that, like I said, that is my opinion. Maybe $3,000 or $4,000 is your breaking point, and you're like, no. But in my case, this was only $1,500 more for a car that wasn't a rental car, and a car that had 0 miles on it. I think this thing had 2 miles on it when I picked it up, and that was it. Had the new car smell? Who doesn't want that? So, when you're going looking at vehicles, don't do like I did and just assume that the new cars are so much more expensive than a used car that you're not going to be able to afford them. Check out the new ones as well, because if I hadn't just been sitting in the waiting room and went over and walked over to see, just look at the new ones, just take a gander at them, just see how much they actually were, I would have probably still wound up buying a used one, and it would have been my fault I didn't spend $1,500 more just to get exactly what I wanted. And $1,500 to me is worth it to me to get exactly what I wanted, instead of settling for something that wasn't the color I wanted or the trim level I wanted. And in all grand scheme of things, you're talking about, $30,000, $1,000 isn't the end of the world when you're talking about that kind of money. So be diligent when you're doing your research. Don't do like me and assume something is more expensive. Be diligent. Look at all your options. Look at used, look at new, do comparisons. A lot of times, when you're financing too, if you buy a new car, your finance interest rate will be lower than it will be on a used car. So even buying a new car, if it's $1,000, $1,500 more expensive, may actually be the same price or even cheaper because of the interest rate difference. So check that out as well when you're going to do this, and make sure that you're like, oh, the $1,500 might be the breaking point. Well, if your interest rate is a couple percentage points lower, that may not make a difference at all, because it may be exactly the same money and you get a brand new vehicle with a full warranty. So like I said, be diligent, do your homework, make sure everything you're looking at is what you think it is, explore all your options, and then make your educated decision off of that. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you have any more reasons why you might want to buy a new car versus a used car, let me know that as well. These are just some of the ones that come right off the top of my head. I was sharing my experience that I just had with this Camry, and I'm sure there's many more out there that you could go on with for reasons of that. I mean, people talk about how, you don't know how the car's been maintained or anything like that. But if you're buying a used car that has, 10 to 15,000 miles on it, that's probably not as big a deal as if you're buying a used car that has 100,000 miles on it or 80,000 miles on it. Because in that short amount of time, there can't be a ton of damage done to it. But I will tell you this, if somebody like me had that car, I get free oil changes in this for like the first 2 years. I paid for my first one at like 2,500 miles, because I wanted to make sure that any of the break-in metal particles of the engine, because when you drive an engine and it's breaking in on a brand new car, you could get like some little metal shavings off stuff that's seating. I made sure at like 2,000 miles-ish that I had the oil changed and all that stuff was flushed out and new oil was put in it. So if you get somebody like me that's on the car, they're probably taking care of it pretty well. Toyota recommends every 10,000 miles. I do my oil every 5,000 miles. I don't like doing my oil every 10,000 miles. A lot of people say that's crazy, but I don't like it. I'm gonna do it every 5. So, you can run a Carfax on a car as well. And if they've maintained it at a dealership like I do for this specific reason, you can see all the maintenance that's been done on that car, and you can see if they've done it at 15,000 miles or they've done it at 5,000 miles. Again, I appreciate you guys watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. I love you guys. We'll see you next time.